I'm Amit, and today Curated Globe is going to look at the ultimate New Zealand adventure guide. But real quick, what if I told you there's a country where you can jump off a bridge in the morning and walk through Middle Earth in the afternoon? Let's get one thing straight. New Zealand isn't just adventure friendly. It's where extreme sports were invented. Bungee jumping was born here. Zorbing? Yeah, rolling down hills and giant balls, that started here too. These people look at perfectly good bridges and think, you know what would make this better? Let's jump off of it. From heart-stopping 134-meter plunges to soul-stirring alpine treks that are going to make you question your fitness, this is the ultimate New Zealand Adventure Guide 2025. Here's what you actually need to know about New Zealand extreme sports. Let's start with the obvious. Throwing yourself off of tall things with a rubber band attached to your ankles. Kawarau Bridge. That's the original, 43 meters, and that sounds chill until you're standing on the edge. The fear factor is 6 out of 10. It's almost like the gateway drug of bungee jumping. But if you really want to challenge yourself, there's the Nevis Bungee. 134 meters and 8.5 seconds of pure free fall. The fear factor is 9 out of 10. And the only reason it's not 10 is because 10 is reserved for doing it naked. And yeah, people do that. New Zealand is just wild. Want to go skydiving? Taupo is your best bet. 15,000 feet over a volcanic landscape that looks so fake it's beautiful. Franz Josef Glacier lets you jump over glaciers if the weather cooperates, which it won't because New Zealand weather is fickle. Here's a budget hack alert. Kawarau Bridge Bungee plus photo is still cheaper than the Nevis jump. So if you want to seem brave but also have money for dinner, that's your move. Moving on to getting absolutely destroyed by water. Kaituna River has the world's highest commercially rafted waterfall. 7 meters straight down. Fear factor is 8 out of 10 and you will flip. That's not a maybe, it's a promise. But here's the sleeper hit. Blackwater rafting in Waitomo. You're rafting through caves in the dark with glowworms above you like they're nature's screensaver. Fear factor is only 4 out of 10 unless you do the Black Abyss option. That's where you abseil 35 meters into complete darkness. Then it jumps to a solid 7. Shot over jet. They do 360-degree spins in canyons with inches to spare. The driver is supposedly a professional, but honestly, they kind of seem unhinged to me. Fear factor is 5 out of 10. Nausea factor is a solid 8 out of 10. Well, everything is year-round because Kiwis give you wetsuits and tell you to harden up. Their national motto might as well be, "She'll be right," which is what they say right before something goes hilariously wrong. Glacier time. Franz Josef heli hike. They helicopter you onto a glacier and hand you ice axes. Fear factor is 5 out of 10. Photo op factor, though, is 11 out of 10. Fox Glacier ups the ante with actual ice climbing. You're climbing frozen waterfalls with spikes on your feet. Fear factor is 7 out of 10. The guides are so chill about it too, like, yeah, just stab the ice, mate. Pro tip, book these 2 to 3 months ahead in the summer. If you show up thinking you're going to wing it, you're not going to wing it. You'll be watching other people's videos from the ground. Queenstown's Via Ferrata is basically rock climbing with training wheels. You're clipped in the entire time. Fear factor is 6 out of 10, but your mom's going to think you free soloed Everest from the photos. If you're loaded, heli-skiing is July to September, starting at $1,000 a day. You can't put a price on telling people you heli-skied in New Zealand, right? Well, actually you can. It's $1,000. All right, let's talk about voluntarily exhausting yourself in beautiful places. Tongariro Alpine Crossing, 19.4 kilometers across an active volcano zone. It looks like Mars had a baby with Mordor. Fear factor is 4 out of 10, unless the volcano decides to remind everyone that it's active. Then it's a different video. Roy's Peak. You know that photo that everybody has? Yeah, that one. 16-kilometer round trip. Fear factor 3 out of 10. Exhaustion factor is 8 out of 10. You're going to question your life choices exactly 73 times on the way up. The Milford Track. 4 days, 53.5 kilometers. They call it the finest walk in the world, which feels like it's kind of overselling until day 2, when you're walking through an actual fairy tale territory. You got to book this 6 months ahead. Here's a hidden gem, Mueller Hut Route. It's overnight in an alpine hut where you're going to bond with strangers over how much your legs hurt. Fear factor is 6 out of 10 in winter because you're going to need crampons. But since it's a bunch of strangers, you may have to deal with some hut snoring symphonies. If you're a solo traveler, the Great Walks are perfect for you. Nothing bonds people faster than mutual suffering on a mountain. Here's a couple of unique experiences. The Lost World in Waitomo. 100-meter abseil into a cave. That's 30 stories of thinking, why did I agree to this? Fear factor is 9 out of 10. They literally lower you into Middle Earth's basement. Zorbing. Only in New Zealand would someone look at a hill and go, hey, let's roll down this in a giant hamster ball. Rotorua invented this madness. Fear factor is 4 out of 10. Confusion factor, though, is 10 out of 10. The luge in Queenstown is basically Mario Kart in real life. Fear factor is only 3 out of 10, but competitive factor is 15 out of 10. You will elbow children to get out of the way. Most of these unique experiences are under $150. Your dignity, though, that's free to lose. Time for some less strenuous water-based activities. Swimming with wild dolphins in Kaikoura. They're not trained, they just show up because they're curious about the weird humans in wetsuits. Fear factor is 3 out of 10 unless you remember that sharks exist. Then it's going to jump up to a 7. Seal pups will come and play with you. They're kind of like underwater puppies if puppies could hold their breath for 20 minutes and had better swimming skills than you. Stewart Island shark cage diving. Great whites, fear factor 10 out of 10. The cage feels a lot smaller when there's a 4-meter shark investigating whether you're food. And honestly, you look like food to them. Pro tip, morning trips have calmer seas. Afternoon trips have much more seasickness. So choose wisely. Okay, let's go for cycling and speed. Queenstown Bike Park, well, gondola takes you up and gravity brings you right back down. Fear will take you everywhere in between. They have trails from Pleasant Cruise to Call My Mother and Tell Her I Love Her. Fear factor is 3 to 8 out of 10 depending on your ego. Rotorua Redwoods has flow trails that make you feel like a pro even if you can barely ride a bike. It's mountain biking with training wheels off, but confidence on. The e-bike option makes everything fear factor -2, and there's no shame in using the technology. And even if there is, you're going to be too far ahead to hear the haters. A GoPro is essential with a chest mount for biking. Don't use a head mount, it's just going to make you look like a dork. Into cultural immersion? The haka isn't technically extreme, but trying to do it in front of actual Maori warriors, intimidation factor is 7 out of 10. You're going to feel ridiculous, you're going to look ridiculous, but man is it powerful. Hangai Feast. They cook your dinner underground with hot stones. Fear factor is 0 out of 10. Deliciousness factor is 10 out of 10. It's basically a barbecue that takes 5 hours but just tastes like heaven. Glowworm kayaking on Lake McLaren at night. Paddle under stars and glowworm. Fear factor 4 out of 10 because you're kayaking in the dark, and that's inherently sketchy, but magical sketchy. All right, you want the ultimate day? The ultimate New Zealand adventure guide, Crown Jewel. Here's 24 hours in Queenstown that'll make you question your sanity and your bank account. 5:30 a.m. Sunrise balloon flight. Peaceful start. Fear factor 2 out of 10. This is the calm before the storm, friends. 8 a.m. Ferg Burger. You're gonna need those calories, just trust me. 9 a.m. Nevis Bungee. Get the worst over with, 134 meters, fear factor 9 out of 10. You're gonna spend 20 minutes on the platform reconsidering the decision, but there's gonna be a 12-year-old who jumps before you and they will humiliate you into staying. 11 a.m. Shot over jet. Let speed just wash away that bungee trauma. Those 360-degree spins are different when you're still high on adrenaline. 2:30 p.m. Via Ferrata. Climb cliffs while clipped in. Your legs are going to shake from the bungee, and it's going to add a little extra spice. 5 p.m., Skyline Gondola and Luge. These are your victory laps. You've earned the right to race children and win. 7 p.m., onsen hot pools. Soak under the stars. Contemplate how you're still alive. Total damage for this? About 1,200 New Zealand dollars if you do everything. Survival rate is 100%, though you aren't going to feel like that at Nevis. And you're going to have a lifetime supply of bragging rights. Reality check though. Most people do 2 to 3 activities max, and that's totally fine. This isn't a competition, unless you want it to be. Then it definitely is. So there you have it. From commercial bungee's birthplace to whatever insane thing they're going to invent next week. New Zealand doesn't just offer adventures, it invents them and then asks if you want to make it more dangerous. So what's your fear factor limit? Are you going to jump off things or are you going to stay attached to things? What are the best adventure activities New Zealand has that you're going to be brave enough to actually try? Drop it in the comments. If this got your heart racing from your couch, smash that like button and subscribe for more adventure guides. Next episode, we've got some really cool stuff coming up. And if you're serious about your New Zealand bucket list 2025, check out curatedglobe.com. We've got complete travel guides in ebook and paperback. Sweet as, bro, and peace out.